I have been a PlayStation fan for a very, very long time. And one thing I like about PlayStation is the way that they treat indie games and the developers behind those games. Indie development has progressed substantially since the origins of PlayStation, back when most games and most people producing games would nowadays be considered indie developers. Regardless of that fact, though, PlayStation has always supported them and allowed them onto their platform. A couple of those, for example, are things like Loco Roco, which was released in North America in September of 2006. We also have Little Big Planet, which was released in October of 2008. Patapon, which was released in North America in December of 2008. Then a little bit more recently, we have things like Journey, March 2013, Guacamelee from April 2013, as well as Resogun from 2013 in November. Stray, just another one that was very highly regarded, came out in July of 2022. A little more recent, we have things like Kena Bridge of Spirits, which was released in September of 2021. A small indie team of about 5 people, which is fantastic considering the presentation and the quality of the game that they delivered. Now, even though PlayStation has supported indie games for a long time, they have also failed to regulate a lot of the indie games that they allow on their platform. If you're not familiar with it, shovelware is just low quality work that cuts down performance and quality in exchange for having higher quantity. So, one of the examples that I know of most is ZJ the Ball. This game was brought to my attention by one Greg Miller over at Kinda Funny because he is one of those trash because he is one of those desperate sickos who loves to hunt for trophies. Now this game, if you call it that, is really just shovelware. It's an attempt to increase the player's trophy count through unnecessary purchases of levels and never ending improvements to what they consider their game and their idea. ZJ the Ball isn't itself a bad game, but the issue with it is that it is basically incentivizing players to search for easy trophies. For example, this article from The Gamer, written by Jade King from May 18th, 2022, titled I Played Shovelware for Platinum Trophies, and Now I Feel Dirty. A quote from her article says this: For years I've ignored them, but their presence has become such a regular occurrence in my life that I decided to see what all the fuss was about. 5 platinum trophies later, and I feel like some sort of digital hussy, willing to put myself through brief, awful ordeals in order to see that trophy notifications pop again and again and again until I reach the climax. In another article from Southeast Asia IGN, written by, and I'm sorry if I butcher your name, Sayazwan Bahri, titled PlayStation Bans Easy to Platinum Games in Shovelware. Now, this particular article was written in November 22 of 2022. And so this article states a few things, and specifically talking about how Sony and PlayStation have begun to crack down on some of these shovelware and malicious games that are used mostly just to boost players' trophy count rather than provide valuable experiences. Reading from the article, it says Sony has sent a letter to all of its developers stating that shovelware, reskin games, non games, and games designed just to award players an easy platinum trophy would be shadow banned or delisted, with the developers potentially barred from releasing any additional games in the future. Another website, dex.exe, from an anonymous source received a screenshot of that actual letter that Sony sent out to its developers. DX.exe in their original article mentioned some of the enforcement actions that Sony would take if these shovelware sort of games were continued to be present on the platform. And these are enforcement actions towards the developers who place them on the platform. Things that Sony might do include their content of the developer being excluded from the PlayStation Store, discoverability on the PlayStation Store minimized, content uh, content delisted from the PlayStation Store, content won't be searchable, and then they even have the possibility of removing that developer's PlayStation Partners account. So it's a lot of stuff, but basically Sony is trying to clean up their act. Like we mentioned, they have a long history of supporting indie developers, with a lot of those indie games being what gave PlayStation so much fame and renown. In an article from Screen Rant, written by Connor Trinsky in November 23rd of 2022, he makes a very good point, stating that Sony has previously delisted various titles from the PlayStation Store over quality concerns, but that enforcement has been inconsistent, to say the least. Big budget bombs like Cyberpunk 2077 got removed from the PlayStation Store, while other games like the GTA trilogy remained available in spite of the trilogy's countless technical problems. So, Sony definitely seems a little inconsistent in how they're managing these indie games, especially the games that may not necessarily be made for quality purposes, but quantity. Thinking about that, let's kind of transition a little bit. Let's talk about how Sony and PlayStation have slowly begun reaching for power within the PC community. With the cost of consoles rising and software bringing in the biggest profits for companies, Sony has begun to widen the range in the industry and fill their pockets a little more by releasing some of their most beloved titles onto PC. Most of the games that Sony and PlayStation have ported from PlayStation to PC have been released there about a year and a half after its initial release on PlayStation. Returnal was released for PlayStation 5 in April of 2021. By February of 2023, it was released into PC. Some other first-party games like Ghost of Tsushima was originally released on PlayStation 4 in July of 2020, and PlayStation 5, the Director's Cut version, was released in 2021. And their PC version was released in May of 2024. The list goes on and on. We have Horizon Zero Dawn. It was released for PlayStation in February of 2017, and the PC version was released August 2020. The remaster of that same game was released everywhere on all platforms in October of 2024.
I didn't ask questions. Always you pushed.
Horizon Forbidden West. It was released on PlayStation in February 2022. Burning Shores DLC came out in April of 2023, and their PC release was March of 2024. God of War 2018. PlayStation 4 release date was in April of 2018, and it was released for PC in January of 2022, which is just 3 months after God of War Ragnarok was released for PlayStation. God of War Ragnarok itself was released in PlayStation of November 2022, and that PC version was released in September 19th of 2024.
And if those answers lead to war with Asgard.
Spider-Man 2018 was originally released in September of 2018 on the PlayStation 4, and was remastered for the PlayStation 5 in November of 2020. Its PC release date was August 2022. Spider-Man Miles Morales. PlayStation release date was November 2020, and its PC release was November 2022. And most recently, Spider-Man 2. PS5 release date was October 2023, and it was just released on PC in January 2025 to a lot of technical difficulties. But wait, there's more. Last of Us Part 1. It was originally released in 2013, was remastered multiple times, and had a PS5 version released on September of 2022 to coincide with HBO's The Last of Us series. Its PC version was released in March of 2023.
Can't be any worse out there.
The Last of Us Part 2 was released for PlayStation 4 in June 2020. Its PS5 version was remastered in January of 2024, and its PC version was released in April 2025. Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart. Its PS5 release was June 2021, and its PC release was July 2023. Sackboy: The Big Adventure. Its PlayStation release was November 2020, and its PC release was in October of 2022. Detroit Become Human was released for PlayStation in May 2018, and its PC release date was December of 2019. And we can't forget this one, Concord. It was released simultaneously for PC and PlayStation 5 on August 23rd, 2024, but we all know what happened to that pretty quickly. PlayStation has been steadily increasing their presence on PC. Even if you go to PlayStation's own website, they have a list of the games that they made available through things like Steam and the Epic Games Store. In an article written by J. Brody Sherry from Game Rant, published on January 22 of 2024, we get a list of rumored PC ports. Some of those listed: Demon's Souls, Ghost of Tsushima, God of War Ragnarok, Gran Turismo 7, Marvel Spider-Man 2, The Last of Us Part 2. Since that article has been written, 4 of those 6 titles have already been released on PC. In a similar article from the Game Watcher, written by Bogdan Robert Mates, states a list of PlayStation titles that could or should come to PC. Some of the titles listed are Uncharted: The Nathan Drake Collection, which has made its way to PC now, God of War: The Original Trilogy, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, which has also made its way to PC at this point, Little Big Planet, Stellar Blade, Infamous, Gran Turismo Sport, Gran Turismo 7, Demon's Souls, Astrobot, and one that I really want to talk about, Dreams. So, if you're unfamiliar with it, Dreams is a title developed by Media Molecule and was released February 14th of 2020 for the PlayStation 4. It uses the Bubble Bath engine, an engine that we very seldom hear about, but the game received a BAFTA Awards for technical achievement. Dreams had the sauce. It was very incredible and very ahead of its time, in my opinion. For small people thinking about getting into game development, this was a very clear and accessible avenue, especially considering the price of this was less than what we pay for most games nowadays. Dreams was a very easily accessible resource for people with limited resources. Now, because this game was essentially a way for people to make games within that game, not everything was amazing. But there was a lot of creativity and uniqueness that most titles with this similar idea have not been able to match. It was essentially the ultimate development playground for people who are not true developers, but are interested in development of video games. And it had the foundation of a system that could have easily been built upon. Unfortunately, all good dreams must come to an end. In an article by Raoul Landeverd at Game Rant, written on March 20th, 2024, he states this: back in April 2023, Media Molecule announced its plans to end live support for Dreams in September 2023. The company has shifted focus to development of a new project, and this was just a few days before their announcement that Mark Healy, head of Media Molecule and co-founder, was going to be leaving his position after 17 years. So, Dreams was a game built around the concept of community and constantly evolving additions to that community. Everyone was able to contribute, and everyone was able to learn and build off of each other's own creations. But with Dreams coming to an end and no longer receiving live support, what did that mean? Although Dreams was no longer going to receive live support by Media Molecule as they were changing their focus, Media Molecule did not leave all of its streamers behind entirely. They had set up a way for curation to automatically be done and to recommend games and other creations based off of things you've already viewed and rated. This was very good. It meant that everyone's hard work and dreams had not gone completely to waste, and that there was a chance that those dreams could still make it to reality. The live support for Dreams was scheduled to end September 1st of 2023. Interesting. We rewind the clock just to 1 month further. On August 1st of 2023, we get to see something very interesting. One of the games made in Dreams was released. Trin was released on August 1st of 2023. And Trin really was the one that got away just before the gate closed shut. Trin was made in Dreams. It was made by people at Media Molecule, and it is truly what Dreams represents. The ability for people to create and build off of wonders and ideas in a very easily accessible way. I'm not sure if Shuhei Yoshida had any part of this, or what his thoughts on this might have been, but as someone who spent much of their time at PlayStation dedicated to indies and indie development, I wonder what his thoughts were on Dreams. Considering how PlayStation had begun to make a push for PC, had anyone at Media Molecule or PlayStation in general thought of putting Dreams on PC? As much as PlayStation and Sony love to highlight indie developers whenever they have the opportunity to, I think it's interesting that they wouldn't put Dreams on PC, where they could have reached an even greater audience of indie developers and brought more interesting and innovative ideas to the platform. Now, the video game Trin itself was made within Dreams, and because of that, Dreams gives us a few statistics on how that game performed. According to the Dreams' own website in the game info for Trin, it says this: Trin was played 932,726 times by 480,362 Dreamers. It was played for a total of 26 hours by the community. It received 65,566 thumbs ups, and it was used in 295 creations. Used within 295 creations. Remember, Dreams is something that everyone can be a part of. Everyone could create and build off of other people's creations and build something even better or more impressive. Okay, well, if you've made it this far, you're probably wondering, oh, his title is clickbait. How does this relate to PlayStation's failures at all? Well, let's say this. PlayStation, on February 12th, 2025, just a few days ago, had a state of play. And that state of play was advertised for the uniqueness and creativity of the games that they would show.
Number one, State of Play returns tomorrow, February 12th. This comes straight from the PlayStation blog. State of Play is back tomorrow, February 12th. Tune in live for news and updates on great games coming to PlayStation 5. The show celebrates a creative and unique selection of exciting games from studios around the world. The 40-plus minute show begins February 12th at 2 p.m. Pacific. See you tomorrow. Plus, what jumps out at you?
Creative and unique. Oh man, this shit's about to be trash.
And many of the games that they showed were indeed creative and unique. We saw things like Midnight Walk, a game made with clay models and having a stop-motion aesthetic. Darwin's Paradox, a game very interesting in the fact that you play as a squid out of water. Lost Soul Aside, a game made by a single indie developer in production for the last 10 years and part of Sony's China Hero Project, a project meant to highlight indie game developers and help them achieve their goals. We also have things like Hell Is Us, a new title where its whole point is to give no handhold. Everything you experience, you have to experience firsthand. And one of my favorite ones from that state of play, we had Dream of Another. Now, when I saw the trailer for Dream of Another, I thought it was another game like Trin. I thought that it could have been developed within Dreams. Dream of Another had a beautiful voxel art style, and it focused on something that is very unique: creation through destruction. And I think that something like this is the kind of game that we need to see more often. The way that the game title was revealed, though, is what really stuck with me. The font and the way that the word dream appeared. I really thought that we were finally getting Dreams on PC. And now, this is my big point. Not only will it increase the amount of people able to get their foot into the development door, but it will also help them to build that PC community that they so desperately want. I still have a dream that one day Dreams will be released on PC. Give developers young and old the ability to transform their creative ideas into potential masterpieces, and allow people with limited resources to begin their journey into game development. So, in conclusion, Sony, PlayStation, if you really want to see creativity and uniqueness, give us the tools so that we, as indie developers, can have our own dreams come true.